Hello, right, another quick video for you. I was just pondering what sort of alternatives there are when shooting and using a rangefinder. Obviously lots of people use the sort of Hawk, I think it's the LFR or the LRF 400. This is the basic shooting rangefinder. Of the well-known brands, you've got Bushnell, you've got Vortex, you've got Loophole, you've got quite a few manufacturers, but this is about the cheapest one. It's normally about £110. I've just looked up prices today. Obviously, if you're looking at this video in 6 months' time, a year's time, the prices are almost certain to have gone up. But as of today, the prices that I quote are going to be correct. So that's not cheap. You know, £110 is not cheap. So I thought, well, you can buy cheap alternatives like from eBay, from Temu or Tumi or whatever it's called, from AliExpress, from Alibaba. You know, you've got all these cheap sort of Chinese import websites where you can get stuff for 20, 30, 40, 50 quid, you know, half price, less than half price. But, you know, the quality is always a bit questionable. The accuracy as well, if you are ranging to sort of 50, 60 yards, and these are generally only out by 1 metre. If you're out by a lot more, then obviously that could make a difference if you need accuracy. So what I've done is I've put together a little chart of alternatives. So to me, there's three main types of sort of rangefinders, distance measurers. There's the shooting ones, so the Bushnells, the Hawk, the Vortex, and they're the ones where you look through. So you look through the eyepiece and you press the button on the top, and whatever you're looking at, whether it's a fence post, a tree, you know, an object that you're ranging against, inside this eyepiece, it shows you the distance. And they're fairly accurate and they're fairly easy to use. They generally use the little button batteries. Then the next type you've got, which are pretty common and vary in price down to quite cheap ranges, is golf rangefinders. Now, golf rangefinders obviously are to help people, you know, choose the right club. And again, you can aim it against the bunker or against the flag. Some of them are actually accurate enough to aim it against the flag. And again, most of them are similar to these. You look through the eyepiece and it shows up on the screen what the distance is. And I'll put up a chart in a minute where I've compared a few and what the prices are and what the specs are, just to give you an idea. And then the third type, so you've got shooting rangefinders, you've got golf rangefinders. The other type that's sort of in those price ranges is builders or surveyors, laser distance measurers. I know I used to be a plumber and a surveyor, so I used to use these quite a lot for measuring rooms and stuff. So these, obviously, you're not looking through a lens or an eyepiece like these. You've literally got it here, and as you can see, you get a red dot. I'm not sure if that's showing up, but you actually get a red dot on these. So wherever you're pointing it. Obviously, if you're pointing at a wall 20 metres away, it shows you. And the distance actually comes up on the screen. Now, the main difference with the builders or the surveyors distance measurers is generally they don't go that far. These, I mean, this is a Hawk 400. It's meant to go 400 yards. You can get the 600 to go 600 yards. A lot of the golf range ones go up to 600, 800, some of them even 1,000 yards. Generally, the measuring ones, most of them actually are 20 metres, some of them are 30, but you can get 40, 50 and 60 metre ones. But generally, once you start going more than that distance in building, you're going to start using levels and theodolites and more electronic and digital methods, more accurate methods. Obviously, if you're building a skyscraper, you need to be fairly accurate. But those are the three main types of rangefinders, distance measurers that you've got. You've got the shooting ones, the golf ones, and the building or surveying ones. So, I'm just going to pull up my website. So, I've got on this website here. So, obviously, this is Uttin's website, and I don't know if you can see actually. Let's try and get that a bit nearer. So, as I said, the cheapest one is the Hawk, and that's 109 quid, basically 110 quid at the moment. And you don't really get the well-known brands for much cheaper than that. But there are other ones available. So this is off Amazon, and this is a golf rangefinder. And as you can see there, it's only 56 quid. It's called a Peak Pulse. I did look at a couple of golf websites as well, and they sort of sell these, so it's not a totally unknown brand. I'll just change my website. Oh, trying not to knock the camera over. I'll just change my website to Screwfix. I'll look on Screwfix for the sort of surveying ones, and you can get Bosch ones for about 50, 60 quid. But they're only go up to 30 metres. There is Bosch ones that go up to, I think, 50 metres, but they're 80 quid. This one's an Erbauer. I've actually got a few Erbauer tools. I'm assuming they're German. I've got an Erbauer drill, which I've had for about 20 years. But this one, I think, goes up to 60 metres, and this is 89 quid. So obviously it's cheaper than the shooting ones. If I just flick to the Bosch one. So this is on Amazon. This one's 84 quid, but this one is a 50 metre one. You can get cheaper Bosch ones, but they're only, I think, 30 metres. So, as I say, there are different measuring devices out there. So last thing I'm going to pull up is a chart. You can obviously pause the video, and what I might try and do is get a screenshot of this and actually put the screenshot on the video rather than me holding a wobbly camera. Actually, let's see if I can get the camera a bit nicer for this, just so you can see it a bit better. You can tell I've not practiced this, can't you? Get up there. Right, there you go. No, that's not very good, is it? I'm going to do it that way. So basically, I've got the shooting. These three are the shooting rangefinders. These three are the golf rangefinders, and I've just got a couple of surveying ones down here, Erbauer and Bosch. And we've got different places where we've got the suppliers. You've got Amazon, you've got Uttins, you've got Clubhouse Golf, which is a big UK golf website. We've got Screwfix. Obviously, you could look at others. You could go to Homebase, B&Q, Machine Mart, Tool Station to get the building distance measuring devices. I've got the prices here. So the cheapest one is the Peak Pulse 600 Golf rangefinder, which is 56 quid. The next cheapest are the two building surveying ones, which are sort of just under 90 quid. The Bosch from Amazon and the Erbauer from Screwfix. They've all got similar specs. The shooting ones, you know, they all go basically from 5 to 10 yards up to 600 yards, and their accuracy is all roughly within plus or minus one yard. I've put the battery type at the end here as well. So a lot of them use the little penny batteries. A couple of them use AA batteries. When you go onto the golf rangefinders, they tend to have longer distances. So if you look here, they go to 650, 875, 1,000 yards, and go down sort of 5-10 yards. So similar to the shooting ones, but tend to have longer distances. And the error factor is again plus or minus one yard roughly. So they're similar in accuracy to the shooting ones. Now the building ones, the Bosch and the Erbauer, they're actually much more accurate. I mean, they literally claim to go down to a couple of millimetres. But as I said, the distance is much shorter. You've only got 50 or 60 metres there. But they also go down to 0, whereas most golf and shooting ones, you have to sort of start at 5 or 10 yards. I'm not sure, you're probably never going to be shooting anything less than 5 yards, so it's not really an issue. But the building surveying ones are actually much more accurate. As I say, I'll try and put that up on the when I put the video up, so you're not looking at it for a wobbly camera. But the bottom line is there are cheaper alternatives to shooting rangefinders. Just going back to my list. And the other thing is, of course, you don't have to use a rangefinder. If you're, in a field and you're just doing a bit of target shooting, if you're hunting, if you're shooting HFT, then obviously those are all reasons why you might want to know the distance to something. Now, you could use a rangefinder, you could use a golf one, you could use a builder's surveyor's distance measurer, or there are other methods. So you could use a long tape measure. If you're going out, you know, in a known place, you know, whether it's in someone's warehouse or in someone's field, obviously you can go and measure certain things. If you know where you're going to be shooting from, you're shooting from a hide or whatever, you can literally just get a long tape measure. There are plenty of tape measures you can get 30, 40, 50 metres. Again, they tend to be sort of builders, surveyors tape measures, but you can get them and literally measure the distance, and then obviously keep a note of it or put it in your phone or whatever, so that when you're then shooting from your hide, you know what that distance is. I mean, the other thing is you can pace it out. If you know that your pace is, you know, roughly a yard or a metre, you pace it out, it's 40 paces, then you know it's roughly 40 yards or 40 metres. And the other thing is, if you are a HFT shooter, once you start shooting the HFT course, you're not allowed to change your scope. So a skill for HFT shooters is what's called bracketing, where you basically can work out the distance to a target by looking at how big a target is on your scope reticle. So if it's, I'm not going to, and that's a whole other video going into bracketing, but basically you can work out the distance of things using your mil dots or whatever spaces you've got on your reticle up against a known target size. So if you know your target size is, I don't know, 12 inches high at, you know, 20 metres, and you're looking at it through the scope and it's roughly half that, then basically it's going to be double the distance. That's a very, very simplified explanation of it, but you can use what's called bracketing, using the markings on your scope to work out how far things are. So there are other alternatives. You don't have to use a rangefinder, but I just thought it might be a slightly interesting video just to you know, compare a few different things. Yeah, so there you go. Bye, cheers.